So there isn't a great deal of research available around mindfulness in sports. Although today I want to talk about an interesting research and in sport for mindfulness in sport. And the research was by Scott Hamilton and colleagues in 2016. Now, what's quite interesting is the study, which is an Australian study published in 2016. The researchers investigated whether mindfulness training would increase athletes' experience of mindfulness and flow and decrease sport-specific anxiety and sport-specific pessimism. So we talked about flow in previous lectures and tutorials. Now, training, doing psychological skills and mental skills training is nothing new. Obviously, it's a big part of many athletes and sports people. But going back to this study, the cyclists were assigned to either an 8-week mindfulness training group or a waitlist control group. The mindfulness intervention consisted of weekly mindfulness workshops, home meditations, and mindful spin bike training sessions. These sessions were designed to help athletes incorporate mindfulness skills into practice. Outcome measures were flow in sports, as measured by the dispositional flow scale 2, sports anxiety, as measured by the sports anxiety scale 2, mindfulness, as measured by the 5-facet mindfulness questionnaire, and sports-related pessimism, as measured by the sports attribution style scale. So looking at the paper, what was quite interesting, that the authors suggested or reported positive effects on mindfulness, flow, and pessimism for cyclists that participated in the mindfulness intervention. So perhaps even more interesting in our tutorial today is that changes in mindfulness were positively associated with changes in flow. So there was a correlation between the change in scores, which is quite interesting, really, albeit you could make a case in point that, like every study, there was a number of limitations. And with this study specifically, the limitation was a small sample size, the use of self-report measures only, and the withdrawal of a large number of participants in the control group in the MBI condition. Although I think what is certainly worth taking into consideration, that or one thing to take into consideration, that the changes in mindfulness correlated with changes in flow, and flow is a topic we've discussed in previous tutorials, which has been highlighted by people in the field of psychology as being, instrumental in people competing in sport at the highest level. But all things being well, despite limitations of the study, it could suggest that mindfulness training may facilitate flow experiences, which is quite interesting and really, really promising.